explain the unexplained.
In one of the most remote places on Earth, a recent discovery has left scientists stunned. Radiation emanating from the ice of this frozen wasteland, with no scientific reason why. After thousands of years hidden by thick ice, and protected by deadly temperatures, could the secret to what really lies under the Antarctica ice finally be? Buried underneath the ice in Antarctica, could very well be the greatest reveal in all of human history. The truth about Antarctica may finally be revealed. The newest recent findings in the Antarctica have left scientists and physicists alike baffled. The stir revolves around the recent finding of a strange form of radiation they have detected coming from the South Pole. This volcanic landmass at the bottom of the world is the site of one of the greatest mysteries of modern physics. Ross Island, Antarctica. It is here that in May of 2018, NASA scientists working on the Antarctic Impulsive Antenna, also known as ANITA, detected an anomaly that defies the laws of physics. Cosmic rays, which normally rain down on Earth from space, were instead erupting out of the ground. You would expect high-energy neutrinos to be raining down from the sky, not coming up from the Earth. But that is exactly what they found. Physicists and astronautic scientists around the world are left questioning what kind of particle could be coming out of the surface of this planet. To this day, it still remains a mystery of modern science. Antarctica remains one of the last unexplored geographical regions of our planet. It is still one of the greatest mysteries with which we are faced today. Antarctica is a land of extremes. Nearly 98% of the ground is covered by an ice sheet, up to 3 miles thick. A mountain as towering as Japan's Mount Fuji at 12,400 feet, would not even break the surface. Temperatures regularly fall to below -50 degrees Fahrenheit, with wind speeds up to 200 miles an hour. During its peak season it is home to only 4,000 scientists and military personnel. Although it was discovered nearly 250 years ago, scientists have more questions than answers when it comes to this frozen continent. Due to the sheer depth of the ice covering its landmass, the surface of Antarctica is unable to be seen with the naked eye. Theorists propose that it is not just a geology that is hidden from us. They suggest there is far more human, and perhaps non-human activity happening in Antarctica than we have actually been told. Rumors of extraterrestrial activity in Antarctica have circulated for years. But now at long last, military personnel who have been stationed on the frozen continent are starting to speak out to these claims. In February 2019, former Navy flight engineer, who to conceal his identity, goes by the name of Brian, has come forward with information about several strange events he has witnessed during his time in Antarctica. Brian claims to have been based on the southern tip of Ross Island, at the U.S. McMurdo Station in Antarctica. The U.S. McMurdo Station is the main logistics center that services nearly all of the scientific outposts on the continent. In Brian's words, he was part of a group that basically was resupplying camp outposts and science teams, located between McMurdo Station and the South Pole. In Brian's own words, the missions were basically supplying out camps and science parties from McMurdo Station to the South Pole. He says during the 95 to 96 season his crew was doing a lot of back and forth to both McMurdo Station and the South Pole, mainly cargo resupply and personnel exchanges. In December of 1996, while flying a mission from McMurdo to the South Pole, The loadmaster in the back of the plane got on the intercom and said, "Is anyone else seeing this? We have objects to the left of the plane. They look like they are shimmering. Are you all seeing this? What the fuck are those?" Brian says he jumped up and ran to the flight deck to get a look at what the loadmaster was seeing. Brian claims when he looked out the large flight deck windows, he was astonished by what he saw. He said he had never seen anything like it. There were 4 or 5 disc-shaped objects, hovering in formation over a mountain peak below. Brian said he told the loadmaster, "I have never seen anything like that." While he was observing the mysterious objects, suddenly one of the objects takes off by itself, and flies in an incredible speeds to the next mountain top, and stops. Then another one in the group takes off and aligns with the first one on the far mountain top. Brian claims they did this one by one in formation. Then just as suddenly as they moved the first time, they all left at an incredible speed away into the distance. And they were gone. Is it possible that Brian's sighting of unidentified flying objects may be somehow connected to the discovery that cosmic rays are emanating from the frozen continent? According to Brian, sometime around October 1985, an emergency call had come into McMurdo Dispatch. A scientist at Davis Camp was gravely injured by a boiler explosion and needed immediate medical attention. Brian's evacuation crew was 6 hours away from the critically injured patient, but they had standing orders from headquarters to avoid flying over what was a so-called air sampling station. That was dead center on the most direct route for the flight. In Brian's words, "We were given direct orders to deviate our flight path. I believe it was a 30-mile deviation away from the air sampling station. The officers on board suggested that we fly straight over the air sampling station and not deviate our path. The patient may not have that kind of time. This would save us 30 minutes. But where the air sampling station was supposed to be, the crew faced something none of them had ever seen before." Brian claims the entire crew saw what looked like a giant indentation in the ground. It appeared to be a huge hole in the ice. Brian said, it looked like a snow ramp that went down into the center. The plateau at the South Pole is completely flat, so this was like nothing they had ever seen. Brian estimated the hole to be at least 300 feet in diameter, the size of a football field. Confounded by what they had all seen, the crew continued en route to the Davis station. They picked up the injured scientist and headed back to the McMurdo station. When the aircraft landed, the entire crew was escorted to the senior commander's office. Once there, they were all ordered to never speak of the restricted area, or what they had seen. Brian said he did not know what it was they were supposed to have seen that was so important. He said, "All we saw was a hole in the ice." Why did the crew flying over this so-called air station elicit such attention from high-ranking officials? What was it they were not supposed to see? Brian believes what he saw was an opening to something highly top secret. Brian has flown this path many times before, and after, and never saw the hole before, or since. How is this possible? A hole the size of a football field simply vanished. Or is it possibly being hidden, or cloaked, in some way? Is it possible that top secret, or even perhaps extraterrestrial bases, are hidden beneath the ice on Antarctica as theorists believe? Curiously, the idea of habitable space beneath the ice has been recently backed up by mainstream science. In 2017, researchers from the Australian National University discovered the existence of vast ice caverns directly adjacent to Mount Erebus. This active volcano is located on Ross Island, in Antarctica. Due to their location, these glacial caves beneath the ice offer something incredibly unique from the otherwise frigid continent. Large heated spaces with temperatures warm enough to sustain life. Mount Erebus is just one of the more than 90 volcanoes on Antarctica. Modern technology has enabled scientists to discover additional caverns near these features, and some are reportedly as large as the entire island of Manhattan. Could these naturally heated caverns and tunnels really be inhabited by extraterrestrials? The ideas of open passageways that appear to run deep under the Antarctic ice sheets, and also the presence of extraterrestrial life at the South Pole, is nothing new. In 1926, Admiral Richard Byrd made worldwide headlines when he and Navy Chief Aviation Pilot Floyd Bennett became the first people to ever fly over the North Pole. For their efforts, both men received the Congressional Medal of Honor. Later, when Byrd was at the age of 41, he made the first solo flight over the South Pole. He became the youngest person ever promoted to the rank of admiral in the history of the United States Navy. In 1946, Admiral Byrd oversaw Operation High Jump, the largest Antarctic expedition ever to date. The massive military convoy included 13 ships, 33 aircraft, and 4,700 troops. Based on witness testimony of the event, and Byrd's own written journals, during the journey to the South Pole, the convoy was suddenly and without provocation attacked by craft coming up out of the water. The craft were said to be making movements that no one could identify. The unknown craft dealt the convoy a heavy blow. Operation High Jump was forced to turn back. When Admiral Byrd returned to the States, he gave his report in March of 1947 that said, "A new enemy has been discovered. An enemy that can fly from pole to pole in an instant. America needs to be prepared for these invaders before it happens." Is it possible that this incredible story of a naval battle with extraterrestrials, and encounters with craft capable of flying from the South to the North Pole in an instant, could actually be true? In 2018, more than 70 years after Byrd's astonishing claim, a satellite image captured what appeared to be a condensed water trail from an aircraft, or contrail, that could only have been produced by something traveling at incredibly high speeds. The maximum length of time that a contrail can maintain its shape is roughly 30 minutes. But most dissipate in less than 15. Only a craft capable of traveling faster than 50,000 miles per hour, or at 10 times the speed of the fastest aircraft in existence today, could leave a contrail that would stretch the entire length of the Earth without breaking up. Is it possible that Admiral Byrd and the US Navy really did encounter alien technology in Antarctica? And could they even be developing it with extraterrestrials still living there today? Scientific anomalies, radar and satellite images, eyewitness accounts. As more and more pieces of the puzzle start to come together, might we soon be able to solve the mystery of the Antarctic continent? And if so, just what might we discover hidden and buried deep beneath the Arctic ice? Could there really be an extraterrestrial civilization? And if so, how long does the government believe they can keep it a secret? As the poles continue to move into the southern regions, and Antarctica continues to move out of the frozen zone of the South Pole, it's only a matter of time before we see what is really hiding buried deep under the Antarctic ice. Perhaps when the ice is finally lifted, and we finally learn the truth, will humankind be ready to accept what may come next? The greatest secret of all time may be just the beginning of an entire new chapter for humanity, or it just may be the beginning of the end.